Shalom. All praise is due to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Racha Kwadash. Double honors to the elect apostles, bishops, elders at Great Millstone, that Ruel. Shalom to elect Aki out there, do this work in sincerity and truth, and not for vainglory in season, out of season. I just want to bring these two quick scriptures. Let's get right to it. This is Genesis 25, and I'll start at 21. Okay. All right. From the beginning, okay, Genesis 25 and 21. It says, and Isaac, 25th chapter, 21st verse. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him. It says, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. Okay, so this is talking about Jacob and Esau. Okay, I'll just prove it's talking about Esau, which we know to be the so-called white man. Okay, his whole race of people. Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So that would be the so-called white man. Okay. All right. His blood shows forth through his skin because he's translucent. Okay. He has no pigmentation. He has no melanin. So his blood shows forth through his skin. Okay. And later on, you know, he was very hairy. Okay. He was super hairy. When you go into it, when you go to Genesis 27th chapter, it goes into it. Okay. All right. How hairy Esau was. Okay. He's red and hairy. Okay. He can't be anybody else but the so-called white man. Okay. There's other characteristics that will explain, you know, when you read this chapter, you know, that this is Esau. Okay, that the so-called white man is none other than Esau. Okay. 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 So yeah. So let me go back to 21. So this is talking about Esau, Jacob and Esau. Let's see if I can jump down. Right. Yeah. It says this is Genesis 25, 25th chapter, and the 26th verse. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. Okay, now Jacob would be the a so-called black man if he's walking around on the earth today. All right. And Jacob had 12 sons, and the 12 sons became the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay. All right. It didn't give you Jacob's color, because Jacob was the color of everybody else in the world. Dark skin. Okay? Brown skin. All right? Pigmentation. Having pigmentation. Esau was the only one on the earth that didn't have any pigmentation. Okay? All right? No melanin. Okay? All right? Okay, so let's go back. It says, Genesis 25 and 21, Genesis 25th chapter and the 21st verse. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, because she couldn't have any seeds. She couldn't bear any children. And Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived, meaning she got pregnant. And the children struggled together within her. Now, you know, they struggled together within them, meaning they were fighting in the womb. Okay? They were fighting in the womb. You had two babies, twins, not identical twins, but fraternal twins, fighting in the womb, man. Trying to take each other out. You know? So this just goes to show you from the beginning, from the book of Genesis, you know, all the way to now, the so-called white man has never had love for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And he will never have that. Okay? He will never have love for you. Okay? Okay? This is from the beginning. All right? And who set up the hatred between Jacob and Esau? Yahweh set up that hatred, man. Okay? Between Jacob, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and Esau, which is the so-called white race. All right? So they struggled, man. They were trying to take each other out, man. They were fighting in the womb. And it wasn't even born yet. Okay? Why? Because they had that hatred towards each other. Okay? And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. You know? And you can, I'll read 23rd verse. And Yahweh, the Lord, said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. See, so this was already set up by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, okay? All right, 2 different nations in Rebekah's womb. Jacob, which is the so-called black man who had the 12 tribes of Israel, and Esau, which is the so-called white man, okay, in his race of people, all right? And they was going to be separate from each other, even though they were brothers, okay, all right? Because Jacob descendants, which are the 12 tribes of Israel, they're going to be in the kingdom ruling. Where's Esau going to be, the so-called white man? He's going to be in slavery, okay? You know, because we wasn't meant to dwell together, man. Okay? We wasn't meant to dwell together. Okay? As one. We was going to be separated, man. Okay? The nation of Israel and the nation of Esau. Okay? Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai don't want all nations together as one. That's that Tower of Babel stuff, man. Okay? Trying to bring everybody together as one. You know, this is what the so-called white man got from Nimrod, man. Okay? So, the so-called white man will never love you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. You know, never. You know? And let's prove it. Let's prove it. Let's prove it. You know, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they want the so-called white man to love them. But the so-called white man will never love you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Let's prove it. Okay? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Book of Ezekiel 35 and 5. Okay? Book of Ezekiel 35 and 5. Ezekiel 35 and 5. All right. It says, Ezekiel 35th chapter, 5th verse. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. There you go. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Meaning unending. Forever. Okay? So the so-called white man has a perpetual hatred for the nation of Israel, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. You see what I'm saying? So the so-called white man has a perpetual hatred for the nation of Israel, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Even the ones you marry, man. You know? Even the ones that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans marry, if you marry a so-called white man or a white woman, in their spirit, they have a hatred. They have a perpetual hatred for you, man. Okay? All right? In their spirit, they do. They don't understand it themselves. Okay? Now, they say that they love you and everything like that, but it comes out. You know they say nigga, fucking nigga, when they get upset with you. You see what I'm saying? I don't care how much they say, no, we don't hate, we're not racist and all that. That's a bunch of bullshit. It's in their spirit. Okay? All right? And has shed the blood of the children of Israel, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans, by the force of the sword. Like I said in the first video, Esau is going to go out by the sword because his blessing is the sword. Okay? All right. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that, man. But guess what? It's all right because Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, loves his people, loves his sons and his daughters of the nation of Israel. Okay? All right? Even though the so-called white man has a perpetual hatred, but Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai loves his people. Okay? All right? And he's going to show his love, starting with the elect of the nation of Israel. The elect of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But with that, hope you've been edified. Shalom.